Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I'll come back to you. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask another follow-up on the troop movements.
Yeah.
Is President Biden concerned that Putin might use them as a pretext to act against Ukraine?
Well, I think what's important to be very clear about here is that there is one aggressor here. That aggressor is Russia. They are the ones who have gathered tens of thousands of troops on the border. They are the ones who are threatening to invade a sovereign country. NATO is a defensive alliance. The steps and actions we are taking are to provide reassurance and readiness to our partners in the region. If President Putin and the Russians decide to de-escalate, that would be a welcome step.
Follow-up on the energy issue. Qatar has said it will divert cargoes if needed, but needs the U.S. to help mediate changes in supply contracts. Who is the U.S. talking to about diverting supplies, and are any countries willing to forgo their Qatari supplies to help Europe?
I certainly understand the question. I would just note that we're talking to a range of countries and suppliers, not any one individual country. Obviously, Qatar is a large supplier of oil in the world, so that is certainly a statement of fact. But I don't have anything about our private conversations to read out from here.
And just a quick final one: does Biden plan to watch the Olympics? U.S. athletes competing. I think it starts Friday.
Yes, absolutely. We all do. I'm not going to rule out an Olympics outfit here. I would encourage all of you to do the same. Yes, we are looking forward to it and to cheering on our American athletes who will be competing. Go ahead.
Just one more on the troop movements. Can you explain a bit more why the president decided to move unilaterally before NATO approved a multilateral deployment? I mean, you've talked often in here about how fiercely united the U.S. is with our NATO allies. Is there a concern that this undercuts that sense of unity?
Absolutely not. And this is an important question because a lot of our NATO partners have taken a similar step. In fact, 5 other of our NATO allies have taken steps. The United Kingdom, France, Spain, Denmark, and the Netherlands have all said they have the intent to deploy additional forces to reinforce NATO's eastern flank. So these decisions can be made on a unilateral basis by the United States or any of our NATO partners to boost up support. And obviously the NATO alliance as a whole would decide if there was going to be a movement of the NATO alliance forces. So this is something that we have always had the capability to do, as all these other countries do as well. And it's an option in addition to what we've done to support and plus up our NATO partners, our NATO alliance.
I think it's still not clear though then why. I mean, I know you've been addressing this here, but why now then? Given that you're saying there's no new evidence that's come to light necessarily, it's not that you have a sense that Putin is going to invade any more so than you thought a few days ago.
That's true, but and I just noted that it wasn't an event because I think the way Zeke asked the question in the last day or two or over the weekend or something like that. This has been under discussion for some time now with our NATO partners and of course within the administration. It is also true that there's no question that Russia and President Putin has continued to take escalatory, not de-escalatory steps. So it is not that it is one moment. We are looking at events over the course of time.
And at the risk of sounding like a broken record, on the Supreme Court search, has the president made any plans to meet in person with any of the nominees? Has he had any direct conversations with any of these potential candidates yet?
We're just not going to provide updates from here on the process. Certainly meeting with the nominees will be, obviously with the nominee, but meeting with candidates will be a part of the process, but I don't expect we'd provide a play-by-play on that from here. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Thanks, Jen. 2 weeks ago at his press conference, the president said, quote, "We're going to actually increase troop presence in Poland and Romania if, in fact, he moves," referring to President Putin. He has not moved yet to invade Ukraine, as far as we know. So can you explain, in the last 2 weeks, why that calculus has changed for President Biden?
Well, I wouldn't say the calculus has changed as much as we look at a range of events over the course of time. And there's no question that if you look at President Putin's actions, they have been escalatory, not de-escalatory. But clearly, this has been a topic of discussion from among our national security team and also between our national security team and their counterparts for some time now.
Is the president worried that Putin is going to try to invade a NATO ally?
The president wants to, we're certainly hopeful he would not, but the president wants to take steps to reassure are countries in the region that are part of the NATO alliance. And Russia as a country, President Putin is a leader who has invaded two sovereign countries in the last several years. He's somebody who's used chemical weapons. He's somebody who has pushed propaganda around the world. We're not predicting that he has made a decision. We don't know that, but we're also taking steps to be ready and to be prepared.
Are removing these forces that are now being deployed, is that contingent on Putin removing his troops from Ukraine's border?
Removing, these troops in Eastern Europe?
1,000 troops that the president is sending to NATO allies that he signed off on yesterday. Is that contingent on Putin de-escalating, not just de-escalating, but actually removing his troops from Ukraine?
Well, if President Putin took de-escalatory steps, that certainly would impact our calculus. But I don't have anything to outline from here. That's obviously a decision and recommendations that would be made by the Department of Defense.
Okay, one last question. Last week, I believe in here you said that the assessment still was that a Russian invasion is imminent. That's the word that you had used before, that other officials have used, and you used it last week. But yesterday, the ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, said she would not use the word imminent. She said she does not think a Russian invasion of Ukraine is imminent. So I guess we just need some clarification on where that assessment stands right now.
I used that once. I think others have used that once, and then we stopped using it because I think it sent a message that we weren't intending to send, which was that we knew that President Putin had made a decision. I would say the vast majority of times I've talked about it, we said he could invade at any time. That's true. We still don't know that he's made a decision.
Okay, so you're not using that word.
I think I used it once last week.
But the decision now is that you're not describing it as imminent anymore.
I haven't in over a week.